Hey y'all, welcome back to 4D Farms. I'm the keeper of the home and I'm in my kitchen today and I'm going to show you a quick video about how we cut up our zucchini and our squash. And I know you're thinking, well, that's simple, you just cut it up. Well, you're right, but I'm kind of picky and we like to eat squash and zucchini in a lot of different recipes and eat it a lot of different ways. So when I'm cutting up my squash and my zucchini, I think about what meal I can use that for and how I need to cut it before I put it in the freezer. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. We gathered squash and zucchini this morning and I've got it all washed and I'm fixing to separate it out into piles and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I'm picky and I like to do this before I plan my meals and stuff like that when I'm preserving our harvest from the garden. I think about how I'm going to use it and then how it needs to be cut up to fit in that recipe, if that makes sense. When I go through them and I show you how I cut them, it'll make more sense. So I'm going to get I've got them all washed. I'm going to separate them into piles and I'll be right back and I'll show you how I cut them up and what I do with them and how I prepare them for each meal. So just bear with me. I'll be right back. Now, I've got my squash washed and I've got it separated into piles. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. These have, sometimes when you don't check your squash every single day, they're like okra. They will grow overnight if you don't watch it. So sometimes we'll go out there and we'll pick some and we'll have small ones like this. Sometimes we'll go out there and we'll have medium ones like this. And then some that we may have just overlooked because those squash plants are so huge, you're going to miss some every once in a while. So they accidentally get a little big on us. Now, this is 3 different ways I like to cut squash, and I'll explain them. We like to eat fried squash, like deep fried. So I will take the big ones like this, and I will take the ends off. That's got a vine on it right there. I better take that off right there. Started to form another squash off the side of this one. Okay, I'm going to cut them up like this. Ooh, what's that knife? Now, do you see the necks on all of these squash? You're going to have some good sized ones like these. They're going to be little bitty necks. And then, another size, a medium-sized neck. What I like to do with the necks is trim all of the necks off because I'm going to chop the necks up into bite-sized pieces. The reason why I do this is because if I want a fried round squash, deep fried, where you can dip it in ranch dressing or ketchup or some kind of sauce, for the rounds, I'm going to use the big round part of the squash to do my deep frying. If I'll try to deep fry little rounds on these right here, I'll just show you one and see if you know what I'm talking about. If I try to slice this, that's a little bitty round, ain't it? This is going to shrink up as soon as it's cooked. So pieces like this are better for stir fry or diced up vegetables to just chunk in a recipe like fried rice or soups. You getting the picture now? Okay, so this is what I like to do. These small ones like this, necks, rounds, and all, is going to get shredded. These are smaller, and I can just grab these and they're small enough and the seeds on the inside are not incredibly huge. So when I shred these up, I'm not going to get just like a bowl full of seeds. I'm still going to get flesh, okay? So the small ones I like to shred, and I will line a baking sheet with some parchment paper, and I'll probably let you see how I vacuum seal these too and how I put these up too. So I like to flash freeze the shredded because when you shred Squash and zucchini, they're really watery. They hold a lot of moisture on the inside. So when you shred them and then you try to vacuum seal them, it squeezes out all that juice. And it's hard for your vacuum sealer to get a good seal because you got juice right there where it's supposed to clap it off and seal it. And sometimes it won't seal. So the shredded ones, they have more moisture when they're shredded. And I will line a baking sheet with parchment paper, grate them and shred them on the parchment paper, spread them out, and flash freeze them. And I've got a sample in my freezer that I'll show you. Let me grab that right quick. Right here. I have a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. I shredded it, spreaded it out, and I'm going to section this out into meals, like 1 cup portions, and then I'm going to put them in a vacuum sealer bag and vacuum seal them. I'll show you how to do that later, but that's only for my shredded. I don't flash freeze the others. Let me put this back so it can stay cold. Okay, now, so these are all going to get shredded. Now, I will take and I will cut off all of the necks off of all of these squash. And I'll show you. The necks I'm going to use for chopping. I'll show you how to do that. Dicing. Okay? This just helps me divide them out into meals that I can look at the bag and say, oh, this is chopped. I'm going to use this. Hey, grab me a bag of chopped because I'm going to make some stir fry tonight. Or grab me a bag of chopped. I'm going to throw it in some soup or roast or a stew or something like that. Okay, you can still fry these up if you want to. You can throw these in with some potatoes and some onions and fry them in a skillet with some olive oil and some butter and some seasonings. You're good to go. But deep frying, I want the rounds. So these are going to be cut up one way. These are going to be shredded. What I like to do with these is slip them into like some egg bites, omelets, scrambled eggs. They're shredded. They're easier to put in a dish that's not a big chunk of full flavor. Now, if I want a chunk, I'll get a chunk for stir fry. But these are going to be shredded. These are going to be chunks. These are going to be for deep frying rounds. And I'm just going to slice them like this. Okay? You get the picture? Y'all, this is just my crazy way of thinking and putting up stuff. This just makes it easier for me. That means if I was to cut up this whole squash and I put it in a bag, I'm going to have some big slices. I'm going to have little bitty slices. And once the squash and zucchini is frozen and thawed out, you can't shred it once it's frozen and thawed out. You can't go back and shred those. So that's where shredding ahead of time comes in at. And then if I deep fry these little bitty stems, little bitty necks, they're going to shrink up to about like this, not even a bite size. So the big portion is going to be my rounds. See how big that is? That is a nice chunk to put in some batter and to just throw it in the deep fryer, okay? A fried squash. Whoop. So, once again, I'm going to cut my neck off. It is going to get diced. If I don't cut myself, I'm famous for that too. So, my necks are going to get diced, and they're going to be used for certain meals. I'm just crazy, y'all. I am an overthinker, and I will come up with ways that will make my cooking and my preserving easier for me, and this is easy for me. These are going to be rounds because they make nice, round, thick circles, better for deep frying. Okay. So, you see the difference in these? Now, I will examine the medium ones, and some of these medium ones are going to make nice rounds. They're not as big as this one, but they're still good round size from here down. They're good round size, like chip size. The next, I'm going to dice up. Smaller squash, shredding. Now, I have 3 different ways that I can pick out of my freezer to choose for a meal. Okay? I'm going to take you to my freezer and I'm going to show you some I've already got vacuum sealed. That will be easier. I'll show you my freezer. Let me grab my camera and I'll walk you over to my freezer and I'll show you our bounty this year of squash. And let me grab a zucchini right quick. I didn't show you that. Same thing with my zucchini. Sorry, I can't talk. Same thing with my zucchini. Every once in a while, we will miss a zucchini, and they will grow overnight, and this is what you get. Don't fret, because I'm going to show you something. Let me make some space here. This one, these I know are going to get, since these are huge, these are going to make awesome rounds. Just like this. These are going to make awesome rounds, okay? But if you let a zucchini get too big, this one's not so bad. A lot of people do not like, the bigger you let a zucchini get, the bigger the seeds get inside here, and this flesh gets a little soft. Don't fret. You can still, I'm just going to use this one as an example. Let me grab a knife or a spoon. You can do this with a knife or a spoon. Keep quartering it. If this is mushy or you've got big seeds and you don't like it, cut it out. Like gutting out a pineapple. You still have plenty of flesh to play around with. Okay? You can dice this up. I'll just do that for you right here. A lot of people say, oh no, my zucchini got so huge. The majority of the inside of it is all seeds when I cut it up. Well, you can remedy that and don't waste your squash and zucchini. I'm sorry if you can't see. I got a lot going on here. Cut you some strips and dice it up, y'all. That's no big deal. Now you've got diced up that you can use in stir fry. Look at there. So don't let your zucchini scare you when you get too much in it. Just scoop out the flesh. That's all you gotta do. Scoop out the seeds and the mushy stuff. Okay? That's all your seeds right there. Look, the birds even like that stuff right there. You don't have to leave it in your trash. So the same thing goes with this right here. Go ahead, just cut you up some strips and dice. Or, you know what? Here's another way to cut up zucchini. Take those strips and make you Parmesan sticks. Oh, that's a good idea, y'all. Zucchini sticks. Put them in some batter, just like you do your rounds, and fry those babies up. Put Parmesan cheese on top. Now, another thing that I like to do with zucchini is make a boat. And I'll show you with this one. I am going to have to grab a spoon for this one. Let me show you. Scoop out this flesh. And there's 2 ways you can make boats, zucchini boats. Don't let your harvest go to waste, y'all. Think of ways to save it and use it. Don't throw it out just because it got too big. Scoop that flesh out. Now, you got a boat. You can stuff this like a baked potato. You can put a meat mixture in here. You can put things on it like a loaded baked potato. What are those things called at a restaurant? Potato skins. You can do zucchini skins. You can put a cream cheese filling to make spaghetti sauce, I'll get a meat sauce going, and I'll brown my hamburger meat or my Italian sausage, and I'll put my spaghetti sauce in it. I'll put it in here, a big lump in here. I'll top it with mozzarella cheese and Parmesan cheese. Put it back in the oven to melt the cheese, and you have a zucchini boat. Now, if you don't like them this thick, you can take a zucchini like this, and you can cut it in half if you want to. Take your zucchini, cut it in half, take one of your pieces, and run it down a mandolin, and make thinner, longer boats. Let me show you. Let me cut this one in half. Take your zucchini. I'm sorry, y'all, something's in my throat. Run it down a mandolin and make thinner slices all the way up. And then you'll have some thin slices to make a thinner, kind of like a lasagna layer. And some people will even substitute slices of zucchini instead of lasagna. And they will actually make lasagna using sheets of zucchini instead of sheets of lasagna. And that'll be your layers. So, y'all, the possibilities are endless. Cutting up and using your harvest however you cut it up. So, let me go show you some I got in the freezer. I'm just going to wipe my hands off. Let me walk you to my freezer. I hope that helped y'all. Ooh, I didn't mean to make you dizzy. Let me show y'all our freezer up here. This is what we've done so far, y'all, in the garden. All of my zucchini and squash is up here. All right, look at how I did these. I could just come in here and look at the bag and say, oh, these are rounds, zucchini rounds. I'm going to fry some zucchini tonight. All right, here is some squash rounds. Oh, I got squash rounds. I'm going to fry some squash. Now look at this. Hey, I got some shredded squash. Let's throw these in some egg bites or some scrambled eggs or something. See? However you cut them up. Oh, ow, my toe. You can use them different ways. Let me show you some chunks. I'm falling out here, y'all. I've got to give my mother some. I've been sharing our garden this year with my parents. They're eating healthier. Look at here. I have chunks of zucchini that's going to be used for stir fry. So you see how easy that is? I will take one squash and find 3 different ways to cut it, to use it in 3 different ways of cooking. Same thing goes with zucchini. Did that make any sense to y'all? I hope it did, and I hope it helped you to get creative when you're cutting up your harvest and storing it for preservation, and you'll know, hey, let's use it for this. You know, it's so easy. We've got onions in here that we put up. We buy onions, y'all. I can't grow onions. I've tried. This is our pepper harvest. Our drawer is full of our peppers. We vacuum seal everything. And there's a way I cut up peppers, y'all. I'll cut them in strips to where I can either do stir fry, or I can dice them up when they're still frozen and put them on our pizzas. Or I will cut them in, I don't know if you can see them or not. I will open up the pepper and cut them like into 1-inch squares. And I will use these for bacon wrapped stuffed peppers. I call them my poppers. You've heard of the jalapeno poppers, and they wrap them in bacon. They'll stuff them and then they'll wrap them in bacon. Well, we can't eat jalapeno peppers. We're getting too old for that spicy stuff. So we started using our peppers, and I will stuff these with a cream cheese mixture and some kind of meat, and I'll wrap it in bacon and put it in the oven and bake it, and we love it. So I cut my peppers up 2 different ways, okay? And we use them 2 different styles of cooking. Yeah, and I got more peppers to put up. The next thing we're going to try is preserving peppers, roasted peppers. We're going to try that next. I got to make sure my tray is. This is our corn from this year. There's corn all the way back there in bags. row of corn back there in the back, and then I have this row up front. And then I have the same thing on the second shelf. Let's see. That's the things in this freezer that we've put up so far. Let me get the stuff that's fell out of here. You go back in there. Now, I got to find somewhere to put this squash and zucchini that I'm going to give to my mother. Okay, this is a lot of what we've already put up this year. But I hope that helped y'all. Make sure my door closes. Okay. Let me turn you around here so you can see me. This is just my crazy way of overthinking something and figuring out how I can cut it better, preserve it better, bag it better, something to make it easy for me to just grab a bag the night before or the morning of and lay it out, let it defrost, and then boom, I know my recipe. Or, if I'm looking like, oh, let's do some Chinese tonight, let's do some stir fry, I know what to look for. I go get the diced zucchini and squash. See? It's easy peasy. If we want to do boats, the boats were on the bottom. I should have showed those to you, how I cut those up. The boats were on the bottom. I'll cut zucchini into rounds. I will shred some. I will chunk some. And I'll make some out of boats. I'll make boats out of some. There you go. So see, I just use it different ways, y'all. The little bitty necks on the squash needs to be diced or shredded. And then the big fat parts can be rounds. Now on these medium ones right here, I will actually take some of these medium ones and if I've got enough shredded, I'll start using my small squash for all of it diced. But I still want to do some more shredded right now. So I will just take it, I will wash all my produce, set it out, divide it out, see how many bags I've got of each. I'm OCD. I like the same amount of bags for each one. Call me crazy, I'm sorry, but I like that. Okay? And then I'll just take an inventory and see what I need. So that is the basics of how I put up my squash and my zucchini. Shred, dice, make boats, make rounds, save your harvest. Don't be scared of a zucchini that's gotten incredibly huge or a squash that's gotten incredibly huge. If you don't like these seeds in it like that, just do the same thing that we did with this and maybe turn it into a boat. You could do a squash boat or cut them into strips and dice them up. Don't be scared of your produce. Find a way to save it and use it. I hope this has helped y'all. I hope I haven't confused you. But that's how we put up our zucchini and squash. I've tried canning zucchini and squash before, but I kind of like doing it frozen better, especially right now because my pantry is getting full. Yes, my pantry is getting full. One day after I get done with all my canning and putting up, I will show y'all my pantry. So I don't can mine. I will cut up mine and I will freeze it. Now, when you freeze zucchini and squash, your texture will be different. Now, sometimes we eat it raw. Sometimes we will take some of these rounds and we will dip them into ranch dressing, or we'll cut up and we'll dice some up and we'll put them into a salad. Y'all, you can eat squash and zucchini raw. We'll shred some up and put in a salad. Or we'll shred some up and put like in potato salad. We'll dip it in ranch. We'll cut spears and we'll dip it in ranch or some kind of salad dressing. So, I mean, we dip it. We can eat it raw too. But when you freeze squash, it is going to change the texture of the vegetable. So what you do is, let me get you off my talking hand here. I'm sorry. What we do is, the best way to draw out some of the moisture out of your squash and zucchini is to let it thaw out, squeeze as much of the juice out of it as you can, lay it out between paper towels or between some dishcloths or some tea towels and pat it dry. Pat it dry. Get as much of the moisture out of it as possible. And then just pat it, squeeze it, stuff like that. Then it will hold your batter better and it won't be soggy. The first time I tried to cook with some zucchini and squash, and I tried to do a stir fry, I didn't squeeze all the water out, so it wouldn't hold the sauce as much, and it took longer to cook because I had to cook the moisture out of it first to get it back to semi-crunchy. Not all the way crunchy if it was in its raw state. But you just try to get some of the moisture out of it. And then just pat it dry. Your batter will stick to it. Your seasonings will stick to it. It won't take as long to cook. And you can roast it better. So I hope this video has helped inspire you to come up with some different ways to cut things up and use them in different recipes. And just grab it at its own hand. And to use all of your produce. Don't chunk it. Save it. See what you can use with it and make out of it. So that way your money and your hard work and your sweat has not gone down the drain, okay? I don't like wasting food. I really don't. I'll see what I can do with it. That's my motto. See what you can do with it. Save it. Use it. That's what I do. So I hope this video has helped y'all. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you're new to our channel, subscribe. Or just go back and look at some of our older videos. If y'all have some suggestions and recipes and stuff. Oh, let me give y'all a recipe right quick. Take your rounds. Use them like you would scalloped potatoes. Scalloped zucchini and squash. Make your sauce, your scallop sauce. I'm talking homemade, y'all. There's all kinds of recipes for au gratin sauce, scallop sauce. You can Google it. I just make a roux with some flour and oil. Let it get a little thick, let it get a little brown. Then put my milk in, like I'm gonna make gravy. And then I'll put my cheese in it. I'll either use Velveeta or I'll use shredded up cheese. And play with your cheeses. Use different ones to see what you like the best. That's how you make your cheese sauce. Just like you're going to make a gravy and then throw your cheese in it. Make your cheese sauce. Throw that over your rounds of zucchini and squash and you've got scalloped zucchini and squash. It's good. Fry it up, stir fry it, roast it, do whatever. Play with your food and have fun. I hope y'all like this video. Y'all have a blessed day.